It all started with like a stolen Quran. So I said to him, I was like, yo, you know what you just stole? And he's like, nah, it's just a book. I'm like, nah, B, like, it's not a book. Like I brushed the dust off of it, started to read. Like every time I like picked it up and I read certain things, like it hit different. To be completely honest, I did not look like how I look today. You know, I had a nose ring, I had like my earrings were in, like chain, like everything that was like the opposite. I was put in a situation where it's either I choose up, where I stick to my deen, what I know is the truth, or I literally end up where everyone else is going. To be honest, like I have a couple things, like, you know, to speak on, but you know, as I was here, like, you know, a couple brothers asked me little questions of like my journey, because I am a revert to Islam, and basically, so how it all played out was, it all started with like a stolen Quran, which sounds as crazy as it sounds crazy. Basically, growing up, I always was like, I was a really spiritual, religious type of person. Like I used to like walk, go to the church. My family they're Christian, so I would like walk to church by myself. I would always like, you know, do those little things. And so this was grade 11, night school, and my friend at the time, he had his class in the library, and the bell rang, he came outside, and I noticed he had a Quran in his hand. And growing up, I had a lot of like Middle Eastern friends, like, you know, so like, not to put any stereotypes, but you know, I had some knowledge of like what it was. So I said to him, I was like, yo, you know what you just stole? And he's like, nah, it's just a book. I'm like, nah, B, like, it's not a book. Oh, and sorry like for the slang, I'll try to articulate myself as best as possible.
Nah,
you guys don't understand.
Go for it.
But so I ended up taking it from him, trying to like, you know, do the good thing. Bell rang, I went to class, I brought it with me, put it in my bag, it came home with me. And that was literally like the day, like everything, like, you know, started. So I'm not gonna lie, it sat there for 3.5 months. And then I was just cleaning out my room because we were moving, and I found it again, I brushed the dust off of it, started to read. And then over time, like every time I like picked it up and I read certain things, like it hit different. Like, you know, and it's just like, even when I was in class, like in grade 11, like I'm pretty sure, I don't know if you guys went to Catholic school, but Catholic schools, they do world religion. So you learn about all types of religion. So you learn about Sikhism, you learn about Hinduism, Orthodox Christian, Islam. So we went to these, like, they're respectively like holy places of worship. And I remember after coming back, I asked my teacher one day, I was like, okay, so if, like, me knowing what I know in the Bible, it says like, you know, like, if the revelation came down where it came down, the picture that is depicted of Jesus, like, you know, in peace and blessings be upon him, like, it's not like, it's just not right. You know, those ones like, that doesn't make sense. And I remember I asked about it, and the teacher didn't give me no answer. He just kind of just looked at me like, oh, that's because. And I'm like, all right. Like, you know, so I started doing my own research, and that was towards the ending, going into grade 12. And then fast forward, I ended up moving to Brampton, and in that time, like, you know, we all have our trials and tribulations. Like, I'll be lying if I said I'm the perfect Samaritan sitting here, but you know, you go through life, and basically, I met this one brother, and he just told me to like come to the mosque one day, and I was like, okay, like I'll come, like, you know, I'll pull up. So I went there, and like we literally sat in a circle, kind of like this. And to be completely honest, I did not look like how I look today. You know, I had a nose ring, I had like my earrings were in, like chain, like everything that was like the opposite. And like they didn't look at me no way. Like, you know, they just accepted me, like they talked to me, like, you know, took their time with me. And then fast forward, they kind of like brought me to understand what I was reading more. Like, you know, because it's one thing to like judge Islam off of like the broad notion we see on the media and what they depict, but it's like realistically, like, you don't look at the person, look at the religion. And it's like when I would read, and then I would see certain mannerisms of like the brothers that I met opposed to what I was being shown, I was like, okay, yeah, that doesn't add up. So I dived into it a little more, and then fast forward, it's been 4 years now. It's from 2015, and in the beginning, I was like, you know, I was on my deen, doing everything. and basically life happens. It was easy for me to slip back into my old tendencies. Sometimes, like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will like knock you down from like, you may be feeling like your iman may be super high, like to the point where you may get complacent, like you may feel like anything and everything that you do, like you can't be, like you do no wrong, like and then you have to get knocked back down to be humbled and realize, okay, I need to fix up a couple things. So fast forward, going through life, like life kind of showed me that you don't steer this ship, and I basically decided to jump back on and really pay attention. And so my whole thing is like when Sal was talking about his life a game, it was like I was literally playing a game with life. Like anything you want to name it, whether it's from, you see what I'm saying? Like I was there, and a lot of people that I know, a lot of people that I used to hang out with, like they're not here present today. They're where they're like the typical story. Let's just keep it 100. Like just a typical story. And I was put in a situation where it's either I choose up, where I stick to my deen, what I know is the truth, or I literally end up where everyone else is going. And it's actually funny, I was telling Saad, Kevin, like the other night, how there was this one night where we're all chilling, we're all hanging out, doing whatever, and basically I left probably like 20 minutes, and then right after the door went flying right off, and everyone in the house got in trouble, literally. And it was like, there was too many signs that was being shown to me. It's like, yo, like, what are you doing? Like, you're really playing with life. Like, so it's like, and I'm also a person that believes that like nothing happens for a reason. Like, everything is already planned out for you. Like, even the name of like the event, even where the event takes place. Like, I know this area very well. I used to like right over there, 1900 North Sheridan Way. Like, I used to be right over there, like every day. Like, so me just understanding that, okay, you want to continue to play with life, this is where you'll end up, but if you just stay on your deen, this is what's for you. And every time that I would, like make my salah or do like anything along those lines, I would reap the benefits of it. To be honest, like I have a little something, like I write poetry, and I guess it can kind of like sum up like what like I have to say, but just to like put it out there, like I don't know where everyone is personally with their iman, but what I do know is that like we're all blessed, and a lot of us like a lot of us like it's not intentional, because like I can understand why it's easy for you to dibble and dabble into what you see outside, like it's amusing, but like I'm sitting down in a position where it's like I wish some of my friends were guided, like and only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can guide, like whom He will. So all of us in this room have like a cheat code in a sense, like where it's like we know the truth, we know if we do certain things that we can obtain, like paradise, like not just by hitting your salah or like giving zakat. It's actually like your actions, like what you do on a daily basis, how you deal with people, your interactions, like so. Just to like sum that little all up, it's like as soon as I made that shift and I jumped back on my deen, it was like all that stress and negativity just kind of went away. Because like for 22 years, I can honestly say like I was living without peace in my heart. Like honestly, like 100%. And even like where I sit today, from the outside looking in, I may not be in the best position from where I was previously, but like I've been telling all like my friends and all this stuff like that, like it's the first time like I have peace, like full peace, because it's like you can, like if you find happiness in like the cars and all that stuff, like all right, when the car disappears, like your happiness is literally gone with it. And if you find happiness in the money, once the money's gone, your happiness is gone with it. And it's like so it was literally like a snowball effect, and like I was just literally tired of rolling. Like you keep rolling, and then you end up into a place where you necessarily don't want to be. And it's like a lot of people don't get to like come out of it. So it's like, if anything that you guys can take away from it, like it's just like, like everything we see on media and we see outside, it's all nice, it's all neat. Like you want to dive into it, you want to play with it, but trust me, it's not what it seems. Like and it's like, sometimes I wish that like I could have been born Muslim, so that like my parents and like my family members can also see the way I see things and how I view things. Like, you know, that's why, like, every time I make my salat, like, I'm making sure I make dua for all of them. Because, like, you know, like, in the beginning, it wasn't the easiest thing. Like, you know, but the blessing of it was I was living by myself. Like, I was financially stable to be living by myself. So it's like, you know, so, like, I guess, like, I could just, like, you know, touch on a little poem. You know, I got a lot in this book, but I feel like this one can really touch, like, what's going on with today. So it's, basically starts like this. So, trying to find myself accumulating debts, multiplying stress, life. It's a process, right? Patience is my uprightness to enlarge the small light at the end of my path that illuminates the darkness. Marching forward, the perspective I had toward the cartilage in my left knee. The past me would deadlift shifts from Monday to Friday. Old soul, age is nothing but a number, but my weekly slavery checks took care of responsibilities monthly. Humbly flex at the acknowledgement of hierarchy amongst my peers. By feeding minds and stomachs through good intentions, ended up with blessings in the later years. But who predicts the future if it's already written? I'm not a rapper, this is just my thoughts, lyrically shifting the top and bottom bridge of my lips, comprised of small atoms illustrated by the divine creator. There's nothing greater. Furthermore, if I'm lost, I retrace my steps back to the word, not the church that hypocrites breed. I mean the untranslated. To comprehend, you need a revelation. Looking down on the earth, another man's affliction shouldn't be your salvation. But this is Z generation. So, you know, like, I just feel like in today's society, and like with, like, just speaking on, like, the Muslim community, like, a lot of us, like, take it for granted. And, like, I can understand a little bit where you guys may be coming from, because it's like, yeah, your parents will be on you, and, like, you know, when you get a certain age, it just becomes emotions. Like, you know, and sometimes they don't know how to tap into certain things to make you really feel what they've been preaching to you since you were young. Like, you know, and I just feel like if we can all just really just self-reflect and really realize that, yo, like, how many times when you went to go do something negative did you really reap the benefits of it? Like, you know, and then every time when you went and did wudu and you felt light, like, you felt clean, like, you felt like, you know, and like you made your salah and it was like, okay. Like, you know, so it's just like, to be completely honest, like, I didn't know how this whole event was gonna pan out, but I just feel like this is my little spiel, that I could give to you guys. It's just really appreciate, like, what you guys have been blessed with. Like, we all been blessed with, because we're all sitting in this room for a reason, right? And it's like, even with the location, like I said, I know this area very well. You see what I'm saying? Like, the start of all my foolishness was right up the road. Like, you know, at 9 years old. I don't even mean to rhyme. Like, you see what I'm saying?
You're in a block, bro.
You see what I'm saying? But, we can all learn from each other if you really pay attention. Like, you know, and not just look at things on, like, the surface. Like, be present with people when you're in their presence. Like, literally. And so yeah, that's just my little short spiel.
How did it start for you? You said it started at 9?
Like, what do you mean?
Like, you said your foolishness started at 9.
Oh, nah, like, okay, so, like, not to, like, really tell everyone, like, you know, my bad deeds, but let's just say, like, at a young age, like, I was 9 years old.
That's what
it was like, you know, like, let me just put it this way. No, that's what I'm saying. All right, let me direct this to you. Okay, so basically, when you go outside and you're hanging out with your friends, you don't know what is right, you don't know what is wrong, because you're with your friends. And it may be the coolest thing to do, but just know that everything that you do, there's a good side and there's a negative to it. And if you can realize that, like, hey, every time I do this I get in trouble, then maybe you should just flip the other way. You know, like, and trust me, being, like, the positive, upright, like, you know, knowledge of, like, you know, some actual things in this world, not like the surface stuff and materialistic stuff, it's not the coolest thing to do. And, like, even with my whole journey, like, a lot of my friends, like, when I told them, like, yeah, like, Revert to Islam, they're looking at me crazy, like, yo, what are you talking about? What are you doing? Like, you know, but, like, so always remember, like, the right thing to do may not be the coolest thing to do. And a lot of your friends will not like what you're doing. But just know that if you know that it's the right thing to do, run with it. Like, you know, because, like, when you take one step to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it takes 2 steps to you. It comes running to you. You know, so just always know that. Like, so if your friends are like, oh yeah, no, that's not cool, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that, you're doing the right thing. Just always remember that, like, because the cool thing is not always the right thing to do. Just to sum it up in a little pot.
So that's advice even we get, but not only him. That's for
right.
all of us.
Nah, but yo, that's why we're all sitting on the floor, right? No one's higher than nobody, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, we're on, like, and that's the next thing too. It's like you have to forgive yourself. Like, you know, just realize where you are. You see what I'm saying? And don't try to, just like what Kevin was saying, don't try to use someone else as a scale. Like, you know, because like I may not be where this side may not be where I am, but at the end of the day, we're both striving for the same thing, right? So it's like, you gotta catch me when I slip, I'm gonna catch you when you slip. And it's just like that, like, you know, so, and what I guess I touched on it earlier, like when we're all just like, you know, having like open conversation, but when you only deal with the surface, you'll never really solve the problem. But as soon as you like hit the heart and you deal with the root of the problem, then you'll find the actual answers and like what's actually real, what's actually of substance. Like, you know, so I don't know if you guys got questions.
Yeah, most definitely.
I could, like, I don't know.
We'll start off from Brother Sound.
No,
Guys, put me on the spot. Anything you want to say? Oh, not even a question. Anything you want to say?
anything I want to say. Yeah, I have like similar experience. Exactly. I wasn't religious 2 years back, and first year of uni I was doing whatever, and second year of uni I was doing whatever as well, until something major hit me. Until I like wasn't really, maybe it was a sign, I don't know what it was, but like it was like it hit me really hard, and I took a step back, and then slowly got back more into Islam. Even though I was born into it, I wasn't really, I guess since I was the youngest, I wasn't really enforced in it. Since I was the youngest, it was always like, hey, pray to my oldest. And then the youngest, you kind of run around and shoo, right? But all the morals came with it though. So no stealing, no etc., all that. So all those right and wrongs were still along my way, alhamdulillah. But later on, after my second year, I got back more into Islam. I started praying. I would just like pray 2 out of 5 times a day, whatever, anything it was. And whenever I was at school, I'd always go to the masalla. And I'd even grab friends during, like, if we had a 2 to 4 lecture, and I'm in engineering, so I'd be from school from 8 to 6. And me and my friends would literally grab a corner during the break and pray. And it was awesome, it was great. It doesn't matter where we prayed, it doesn't matter how we prayed. It was just as long as we prayed, kind of. And meeting like all the people and the different surroundings. And during first and second year, all those friends I had previously, like they're all gone. Like they're all there, I see them, but I just say hi or whatever. It's not like you don't have that type of connection with your brother or your sister or whatever kind of relationship you have between your spiritual friends and whatnot. But this is that was a huge hitter, and now it's like kind of going on to my second year. And mashallah, like I learned so many new things. And, the great thing about being so new, or not new, but like I have flashbacks of all like certain memories. But like having actual surroundings to them now, because I get to like enhance those memories and learn upon them. SubhanAllah, it's so amazing. Alhamdulillah, I was so pleased for that.
God bless you.
Yeah, man, I mean.
You want to say anything? Yeah,
No, I was.
Shall I say anything?
So.
We'll go like ping pong. Yeah.
Honestly, so in high school, I had friends. Shizad knows my friend very well. And recently I had like an incident where I kind of realized who my true friends were and who aren't really my friends. This is like less than 2 weeks ago. And then somehow I ended up here, and I see there's like so many connections here with people knowing each other, and it feels so great just being here.
God bless you.
You see, like, yeah, just
you guys organized it really well now.
Your family, man.
And that was all the next thing too. It's like just going back to like touch on what you were saying, It's like at the end of the day, what I realize is, okay, I may lose some friends. Yeah, I may lose some family members that look at me a little crazy. But at the end of the day, it's like, I know I'm never alone anymore.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like for like a long time in my life, like I was lonely, just wandering. Like, you know, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala found me and guided me. Like, you know, so that's just the one thing. So it's like,
you know the point you were saying about you reading the Quran, like you found it, and then you were that was giving me shivers for some reason. It's like you're telling me your perspective as a Christian, right? You're looking at the world, of Islam differently, and then when you actually open the Quran and read it, it's completely different.
So you gotta do, you see? Because at the end of the day, we all know what's right and wrong. But it's like a lot of people in today's society, we live through our sheer ignorance. It's like we choose not to do what we're supposed to do because it's like we don't want to do it in that moment. But it's like, okay, that may not be beneficial for you.
Brother Abdurrahim and Shanur, you guys want to collab or inshallah?
Yeah, I think what you said about like you wish you were born to be Muslim. I think like now that we look at more of the dunya, I think many of us, we don't realize how truly blessed we are that we were born to be Muslim. So yeah.
Well, you know, we're all learning, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, the beautiful thing is that you're sitting here today though. You still could have been outside.